So let me go ahead and welcome all. Jaw Jackin, Eric Taylor. Hey, Eric, you're on stream with us. How are you?
Well, first time caller. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, first time, long time. Good to go ahead. Go ahead, caller.
West of the Rockies.
Awesome. All right, so Eric, what can we expect from Jaw Jackin today?
We're just going to do a bunch of Q&A, so ask me anything. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. What's on your minds, ladies and gentlemen?
All right, sounds good. Guys, I leave you in the capable hands and the soft hands, I might add, very, very soft hands of Eric Taylor. I'm going to go ahead and throw that full screen shared screen up for you, Eric, just to kind of, I know you're going to be able to demonstrate this. Guys, I'm Jerry. Have a great stream. I'll see you soon. Till tomorrow. Stay secure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are doing well. That's for those who don't know, that was brought in by DJ or Haircut Fish from a meme a while back. So that was always their running gag of, Jerry won't say it or do it, so I push him out of my way and I'll do it or I'll say it, whatever. So hope everybody's doing good. Let's get we'll go ahead and get that animation to stop. We'll pivot this over. A lot of pivoting going on.
You gotta patch it.
Wrong button. Turn that down a bit. All right, so this is the part of the show where Jaw Jackin with me, Eric Taylor. Hello, everybody. Seeing your chats. I did the unofficial start. Well, let's go back a second. Let's do the actual intro. There we go. Now, welcome to Jaw Jackin. My name is Eric Taylor, Barricade Cyber. So good to see everybody here. I feel a little bit better now that we did the proper intro. What questions do y'all have? What's on your minds today, ladies and gentlemen? I did see in the news that the FCC just slapped around a lot of cell carriers. So if you haven't seen this, so the FCC pretty much said, according to did a massive fine of nearly $2 million against AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, and Verizon. And I just have to say, about time. I mean, I know this is going to be peanuts to them, because they just make a ton of freaking money. But apparently the FCC finally came down and was like, you know what, you're not. Hearing the music might be a tad loud, thanks for letting me know. But they pretty much said that they were storing, here it is, showing that AT&T sold customer data location directly or indirectly to at least 88 third-party entities. Maybe I need to blow that up a little bit more. The FCC found that Verizon sold access to their customer location data either directly or indirectly to 67 third-party identities. Sprint did it to 86 and 75 respectively to T-Mobile or of T-Mobile customers. So, this is a lot of times why you use Graphene OS. There's so much stuff to lock down. I've been kicking around an idea of a little mini series of videos or topics to how to secure your iPhone, how to secure your Android without going to an out-of-box Graphene OS or whatever the case may be, to help stop some of this stuff, or at least not be included with some of the stuff that's happening with these big conglomerate vendors, right? So I'm sure that will come up on the CISO series news in the next week. Checking mod chat, see if we got any questions so far. I feel like all Alec Baldwin. So from Dreaded Horser, or Hoser, if you notice an uptick in brute force attempts and you bring it up to management, but they don't seem to have any worries, what you should do. That's a tough one. I guess you need to rephrase it, right? It may be a question, the way you're questioning or phrasing it to them. The way I have gotten a lot of traction over the years is I propose a problem and I ask them, how would you like me to mitigate this problem? And then shut up. You know, one of the old, there's a great book. This actually brings up, because I learned this tactic, you know, in the Marine Corps, and actually relearned it a lot from this book. Never Split the Difference. So definitely look for that book. It's on Audible. It's a really good listen and or read. But it's by Chris Voss. So definitely look at that. But you know, literally, you're asking them, you know, the whole verbiage of "help me help you." So you're posing that question to them: how do you want me to handle it? You know, one thing that I also learned in service was the 1-3-1 rule, and this is another thing that you can be able to use. Is you have one problem, you come up with 3 solutions. Of those 3 solutions, you recommend yours. You're like, hey, we have this problem with brute forcing attempting. You know, I'm looking into this thing, and you know, we should either, you know, we could tighten down our firewall, or we can, you know, enhance our security, logging metrics, or whatever your third thing is. You know, maybe just remove it from whatever that service is, from the internet, whatever the case may be. I recommend increasing firewall rules, you know, as my personal, but how would you like me to do that? And I found that one actually works best because you've proposed several ideas, you've given your recommendation, now it's up to them to do it. And if they are just, you know, they're out for tacos, they're out for donuts, or whatever the case is, then you just got a poor management leadership. And that's going to be a personal choice if you stick around or not, right? If I know a lot of people who get out of the military, especially in SF, I mean special forces, they will, you know, they get out because they can't make a difference and things of that nature, and you know, they're like, oh well, you're just wimping out because you're, you know, you stay in to make change. But you know, you ask them, how much policy have you been able to change with your higher rank, and they're like deer in the headlight. So, but anyway, yeah, I would try that. I would read or listen to Never Split the Difference. I would implement the 1-3-1 rule, and you know, try that. You know, you're giving your advice, you're giving several options, and you're asking them what they want to do. How do you want me to fix it? How do you want me to help you? So, all right. From Sam, I have a Network Plus and CISA or CYCA Plus. Should I apply now to a SOC job, or should I get one more cert before anything that I want to do? Before applying, I want to get the cloud cert. Sam, I mean, if you got an active job, I would say, you know, go ahead and get your cloud cert. You know, just round it out. So, and then go for it. You know, the job market is very, very interesting. You know, and I've talked to, me and Joseph and Kimberly have been talking about, I talked to Dr. Gerald Ozier earlier, I think yesterday. You know, you see all these job postings online, and that's kind of what we came up with the thing, because I don't know what the right answer is. Is it people are just putting job postings out there and never filling them? Are they overloaded? Because even when I put out job postings in the past, we would get a barrage of people applying. dump truck drivers and just all that stuff. And it was for a senior level network administrator, right? It wasn't an entry level or anything like that. So, I can only imagine it's even worse now. So, oh, we got a super chat from Cyber Eddie. Thank you so much, Cyber Eddie. Advice on doing videos on Sec Plus practice test videos based on Professor Messer. Sec Plus, just not live. Yeah, Cyber Eddie, there's just a lot of stuff on YouTube that you can check out. Professor Messer is decent. You just have to find out. Check out the IT Pro TV. They've got some good stuff there. The biggest thing you got to do is find a teacher or course that resonates with you. All right, we all been in. Think back in your high school days. Teachers that you were able to learn so much from, they just resonated with you, and some teachers you could not connect with no matter what. Everything they said, you just didn't understand, things of that nature. And you just got to find somebody that is able to teach in a manner that you're able to digest. That's the biggest thing. So Jenny Housley, yes, I do have Teams notifications going on because I got a situation happening and kind of need that on at the moment. So apologies if I'm triggering anybody with Teams notifications in my background. You may hear some signal and stuff like that too. Dead Falker, is it the job market? Is it me or the job market feel wonky? Just on entry level position, but need 10 years experience, huh? Yeah, Dead Falker, so how best do I say this? Okay. There's two avenues of thought on the job market or with the job postings. I've said it for a long time. Digital forensics incident response is not an entry level position. It is just not. Right? Could you do entry level tasks in DFIR? Absolutely. Log collection, log analysis, and making sure that the forensics team has all the logs they want to do. There's some entry level tasks, but able to jump right in to doing digital forensics incident response is just not an entry level position. The same thing goes for a SOC position. And some companies will have an entry level, like, hey, we're going to teach you the basics of SOC analyst. We're going to teach you the basics of, this is how Windows logs are created. This is how Linux logs are created. These are where the files are stored, and how different applications write to different folders and just all the nuances. But having, how do I say this? That's me trying to make sure I don't upset anybody. Kim can fix it. But in general concept, you need a basic understanding of your network. You need a basic understanding of how technology works. Windows servers, Windows workstations, Linux, Mac, all the different various devices. You got to know what is normal behavior versus abnormal behavior. And there's going to be a lot of stuff that you're going to be exposed to when you become a SOC analyst that you've never seen before, even in practice. And, going from job to job and job, there's, different nuances, different type of logs, different type of behavior that may or may not be normal. But having at least a basic understanding of what those actions are, so that way you can quickly raise a red flag and say, hey, is this normal? Sorry, Jess Bishop is... For some reason, your post just came right. Work for MSP SOC. We get to help the IR with incidents and it's educate. Exactly. And Jess, you're in a very unique situation where your MSP is actually doing IR, which is another soapbox I can get onto. Should the fox be guarding the hen house, right? So should the MSP be doing the incident response? A lot of insurance companies won't cover it. I'll repeat that again. A lot of insurance companies will not cover the MSP doing the forensics work now. So, Dead Falker, hopefully that answers your question. Let's see, from Habib A. Good morning, Eric. Question: what's the point of VMware and why should you use it? It's for hypervisors. So there's a lot of people who run Docker or Kubernetes or whatever on your local device. I like a full OS, so I run VMware. You can also use VirtualBox, and there's several other tools out there, but essentially you're running a VM, another OS, another workstation inside of your primary one. A lot of infrastructure businesses will run it because you can put one fat box, right? This is for illustration purposes only, please, right? So this is a Mac Mini. Imagine we're going to go to make-believe land. We're going to be in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, but imagine this is a big old server. Now, when you install VMware, you'll have one fat box and many individual smaller servers in there. So one fat box machine or regular traditional server, depending on its resources, could potentially run 5, 10, 15, 20 individual servers inside of that one server, maximizing your utilization of that device. And that really what is the purpose of having a hypervisor like VMware. I know a lot of people love Proxmox and some of the other solutions that are out there. So, I personally like VMware. I know they've had a lot of shade on them, especially with their licensing being brought out by Broadcom and some of the exploits. Unfortunately, all of these organizations go through these type of things, but I still look at what was their response time to mitigation and remediation of said exploits. All right, did it take them days or weeks, under a month? Was there a potential mitigation put in place to stop a said vulnerability before a patch was able to roll out, and were they able to roll that patch out, or at least for high availability for the consumers or for the practitioners to be able to put in place before or within a reasonable time frame, right? So I look at some of that stuff, but there's just other applications and devices out there like QNAP that are just a rolling hot mess express, right? So scrolling over here in mod chat. So Lorizzo J. Rivera asks, question: doing my first threat intelligence, looking for the TTPs. Am I looking to see if there are rules created for these TTPs? Thank you again for your insight, Mr. Taylor. Please don't call me Mr. I work for a living. But there is when you're looking for TTPs, you'd want to look for new usernames, new services created, new pipelines, new applications. Look for those persistence that's been installed and allowing a threat actor to have persistence into that device or that network. So let's just say hypothetically there was a bunch of RDP sessions and then it stopped. That's like, okay, they did credential stuffing or whatever the case is, and that last login, or when that last failed login from that brute forcing attempt, just go back and pivot and say, okay, that's when my failed logins, and what count did they actually breach, what services were installed underneath that type of that user, services, any applications like AnyDesk, any sort of the VNC flavors, TeamViewer, whatever the case is, and you just kind of go down that rabbit hole. So you're looking for those high level items, so that way you can dig deeper down that rabbit hole. So you're looking on the surface, what are the outliers and things of that nature. Now, that's just your traditional, but the 365 tendency, we look for new inbox rules being created. Look for VPN connections being, or logins behind a VPN connection, things of that nature for the cloud infrastructure. scrolling into mod chat. Matthew Hibbett, as an employer, how do you feel about seeing cybersecurity student on LinkedIn being self-taught and not an actual university? I'm okay with that. Matthew, I'm okay with that. Right? You're not, at least on the surface, the way you phrase the question, you're still not portraying something that you're not, right? You're not saying you're going to, that you know all this stuff. You're a student, you're learning. I'm okay with that. Let's see, Megan Gray, I feel like a lot of companies don't give themselves the breathing room to allow to hire for true entry level. They're always trying to meet product demand. Yes, Megan, that's always been a problem. You know, there is a rule in business that you don't hire anybody to fill a job until you're at about 110, 120% utilization of that job role. So let's just say hypothetically, I want to hire a new forensic analyst. Me and Joseph and the rest of the Barricade team would need to be over 100% utilization. We're working 40 hours a week, 40 hours plus solely on new cases and ongoing cases to warrant bringing in that new person to start taking off some of that load. The economy right now is such a feast or famine where we will literally get slammed for 2, 3, 4 months, and then we're kind of looking at each other for 2 months like Marco Polo. So it is, unfortunately. It's just because the economy is not stable. So, but again, my industry is more of when it hits the fan, right? So next question is the Ridge 646. How do you stand on the FTC eliminating the NDA security concerns? Oh, I forgot about that. So those who don't know, the FTC is trying to say you can no longer enforce the NDA non-disclosure agreement clauses for employment. That is a double-edged sword with me. I honestly see both sides of the argument, where if someone from Barricade was going to leave and go work for a competitor, they know our standard operating procedure, how we handle a case, how we communicate with threat actors, things of that nature. So there's that intelligence that's potentially leaving. I see that, but I also make the argument that's also a skill set that they've learned, making them better, right? I mean, if I was trying to poach somebody from another business, I would want that talent because of their experience. I personally wouldn't be like, let's just say hypothetically, I was getting somebody from like Kroll or Mandiant or something, one of the big players, right? I wouldn't be like, so hey, what were you doing at Kroll? I may ask that in passing, like what experiences can you bring to this table from your experience at working at Kroll? Asking them, like, don't tell me exactly how Kroll did things, but your experience, kind of like going back to that 131 rule that I just mentioned a little bit ago, right? Like you had one problem, you came up with 3 solutions, you recommended one, but based off of your experience, what would you say how we handled this type of situation? How should we advance ourselves in this line of workflow or whatever the case is? So, I guess it really depends on the employee, because I know there's a ton of shady people out there trying to get a leg up on the competition and trying to steal intellectual property and things of that nature and trade secrets. And I mean, I'm not all about that, so, but we all got to get better at the same time, right? So I guess it depends on how you're trying to obtain it. But again, I see both sides of the NDA. You want to protect your business and things of that nature. You don't want to, but at the same time, we don't want to stop people from making a living, right? So to answer your question, Rich 646, I'm very torn. Again, I see both sides. FedEx, will you be my friend? Of course, FedEx, I'll be your friend. So, Matthew Hilbert, does anyone else use Proxmox in here? I know several of our clients use Proxmox. So it is adopted. It's not just a lab thing. So I've taken a look at Proxmox, very limited. I can tell you, I hate their logging. I hate their logging so much. But that's just from a forensic standpoint. The GUI seems very understandable though. So, I think if you worked in VMware or Hyper-V, it's not hard to pivot to Proxmox at all. Change this up a little bit. Space Tacos asks question, Eric, do you play chess? Yes, I do. From time to time. Taiwan Gong, I think that's how you pronounce your name, was considered entry level. Somebody who has no experience, little to no experience, is what I consider entry level. Probably anybody with less than a year, maybe 2 years experience. So either you're just new or you have less than a year or 2 years of experience in the field. I think I would consider entry level. But I say that with an asterisk. It also depends on you have those diamonds in the rough, if you will, those outliers that just take to stuff like fish in water, right? They just suck up stuff. They're a sponge and they can just pick up stuff like nobody's business. And they're able to get out of that that quote unquote entry level and be a more advanced individual in their work, in their craft a lot sooner. So, while the question is, that, but you also have to consider the candidate as well. FedEx says no, NDA only means that you could go and make more money, but your moral compass fail and how you don't work into a gray line in a company. I don't understand what you're talking about. NDA is a non-disclosure agreement. You're not allowed to talk about your organization or anything that you've done any outside of that organization. Carrie asks, what is a good subject to get experience so I can attempt to get into IT or cyber? I hope I'm not a bother by asking. No, Carrie, did you ever try, like I recommended a couple weeks ago, a month ago or whatever, talking to your local IT computer shops? I'll be interested to see how that turned out for you. Because I really think a lot of those folks would have snagged you right up. You're local, you got certs, you're a veteran. Dream Logic, Eric Chow, thank you. Simply Cyber, Beloved Family, thanks. See y'all. Let's take care. Dream Logic Inc. Glad you were here today. I will say Kimberly can fix it. Knows the company knows. If I can do that right. Marketing manager here. So follow-up question from Sam. Question, I don't understand your answer. Thank you so much for asking me to clarify. I appreciate it. Can I apply for a SOC job with 2 certs, CYNA and Network Plus? I'm currently working on CompTIA Cloud to make a 3rd cert. Sam, that really depends on the job. So I don't see why you can't. You know, if depending on the interview cycles and things of that nature, you know what you can even put in your resume, you know, pending certification. You know, that's what I've actually advised somebody, you know, if you're working on a cert, put in there in your education, you know, even put it up at the very top, if you will, pending certification, blah, 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 expected completion date or time of, you know, July of 2024 or whatever. And that way you can, you know, show that. But yeah, I don't see why. And then the people that are going through looking through resumes, they will see that pending cert toward the top of your experience or your certifications or wherever you decide to put that, and see that you are working toward it, and to still consider you for that role if that is a cert that's required for it. So Space Tacos, no, I have not played chess with Jerry or James McQuiggan. In mod chat, Justin Gold also agrees with it. You know, go YOLO, so to speak. But yeah, I don't see why you can't apply. Most words are going to tell you no. Apparently, a lot of people are getting told that right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to kind of wrap this up here in a minute. Any last questions? Oh, I see. Okay, FedEx, thanks for clarifying. Hence my statement, as a security professional, we walk a thin gray line, and there is where moral compass is tested, what kind of ethics you are. Yeah, that just goes back to, you know, showing what type of person and character you are. You know, there's an old saying, and I can't definitely learned it in boot camp, but I may butcher it, but a man or a person's true character is only tested in the heat of desperation or battle or whatever the case is, right? And you know, you're never going to know until you're put in that situation what you're going to do, right? So, you know, like, I don't know why this ABC person is able to do and be able to, you know, stand up to so much of this stuff and be able to do whatever. You know, you never know until you're put in that situation. You know, even all the stuff that's going on with Hunter and everything like that, you just never know. You can't imagine until you're in that situation. I'm not trying to say, you know, anything negative or anything like that, but you know, even with all this stuff, like, to put it into perspective, right? So we had 15 years with our little guy, and we didn't know how it was going to end. But I kind of feel, you know, my heart always went out to those that were at MUSC Children's Hospital for cancer, because a lot of times you don't know if you're going to come out there with your little one when they got cancer. I feel like I now, unfortunately, know, you know, some of that stuff, but you just never know. Oh, so we have a couple more. Thank you so much, Kimberly Can Fix It. What is your, by Wilbert Philippi, something like that. Sorry, if you're new, Hooked on Phonics never worked for me, so I'm gonna butcher your name, unfortunately. Unless it's like Sam Smith or something. What is your view on VPNs? That's a loaded question. Are you talking about the public VPNs like Proton, Nord, Bitdefender, whatever the case is? Or are you talking about VPNing back into your own corporate environment? Either way, yes. You know, I'd rather you be under a VPN versus potentially using, you know, a remote access tool like Splashtop or Screen Connect or whatever the case is. You know, because you can be able to tighten down those controls and you have a little bit more forensic logging to figure out what's going on. Sam, I'm glad I was able to answer that for you. And again, Sam, thank you so much for asking that follow-up question, just to make sure we went down that rabbit hole and got you that answer you wanted. You know, sometimes, yeah, it's always funny that you text someone and then they get upset because they thought you meant one way and it was different. So, you know, same thing with, you know, with YouTube chat. You think you're going down the line thinking one thing, but, you know, it's always that face-to-face. So, Ed Williams, for someone without a degree but 30 years in IT, sysadmin to IT director, trying to pivot into cybersecurity, be better served by a degree or some SAM certs? Dude, Ed, you know what I would do, Ed, if I was you? Because SANS is so freaking expensive, and I mean, you've got 30 years in, dude, that I would think something like Black Hills and or 13 Cubed would be much more beneficial to you and be able to get you where you need to go. You know, a SAN cert is nice to have. I do it for insurance purposes for the most part. So, you know, when insurance carriers are looking at us to handle a case, I'd be like, boom, here's all my GX certification. You know, go, you know, F off type thing. But, you know, yeah, we got our bona fides type of thing. That's why we do it. It's the whole pay to play, unfortunately. So, unless you're required at 30 years in to get a degree or cert, I wouldn't, dude. I would just get the training, get the certificate of training, and just go for it there. Dude, you put your chops in. You got 30 years. You know what looks good and what doesn't look good inside of an environment from your years of experience. You just need to fine-tune the craft a little bit. And that's all I'd say to you, bud. So it looks like I answered Ed Williams and Review Online's question. Yay, 2 for 1. Let's see, from Hillslide. Right, Hillslide? Yeah. Eric, someone told me AI will take over CS jobs. As someone who's starting out by the time I finish school, do you think? Dude, AI has got a lot of roadmap to go. Yeah, it's a great tool for trying to quickly digest a lot of data, but that stuff is going to need human review and interaction for many, many, many years to come, dude. And as things get more and more advanced, you know, AI is not going to be able to do it all. Can it do some? Sure. You know, maybe it'll take over all of our jobs in the future? Maybe. But dude, that's 5, 7, 10 years down the road. And by that time, you'll probably be more advanced than just the entry level or whatever you're doing when you get out of school, right? So. Wilbert. Please get that crap off your computer. Please. You have a crypto miner on your computer right now. I mean, unless it's personal or something, and you're fine with that, go ahead, but I would yeet that to the freaking moon. Question from Gil, or going back, let's see. Also known as Dave asked, when are you going to post a new episode to your channel? If there's a new episode, can you link it? Are you talking about my YouTube channel, also known as Dave? And the content will be coming back. This is directly just to as known as Dave or anybody else who doesn't know, but my middle child, my youngest son, had a heart transplant in December 26th. Fought complications for 4 months, and I had to take some sabbatical because we ended up losing him on the 5th of this month. So I've taken some time away to go through the mourning process and stuff like that. So just bear with me. This is kind of my test to get back in the water by doing these jaw jackings, getting back into the content creation and stuff like that. So the content will be coming soon, I promise. We got a celebration of life at the end of this week. I might take another week or whatever, as kind of heads down, focus on some business items and things of that nature. But give us a couple weeks, and the content I'll be getting the content back over to Kimberly Can Fix It. She'll be doing all of her stuff and starting to get that content posted back out. So just stay tuned. Now, let's see. Wilbert says, I like Norn and Express. I've never used either. I mean, well, no, we do have a version of Nord. I don't want to OSINT ourselves. I've never used Express. But the version of Nord that we have has a dedicated server, so our entire team looks like we're from one IP address. It's very, very good. And been messing with Proton VPN a little bit. So, but I won't use, again, this is business purposes, right? We're using it for business, so I'm not going to have me and my team using the free VPN services and stuff, so. How many years of experience a professional need to have before being in an advisory position, asked by Gil? Zahabahi? Whatever. Sorry. Gil, that goes back to a little bit to my comment a little bit earlier, where some people just adopt and are able to suck up knowledge a lot faster than other people can. So it really depends on you. I wouldn't say there's a hard and fast rule, at 7 years you could become an advisor. I've seen people at 3 years just suck up so much knowledge and be able to spit it out like they have that quote unquote, picture memory. No, that's not the, like you remember everything, like picture perfect memory or something. You know what I mean. But they suck up everything and are able to digest it and do what they need to do. So those people may be able to become a more advisory person. And it also depends on the way you speak, right? So, are you able to speak properly? Are you able to get your message and your points across in a way that people will understand you? Being able to remove that tech speak down to people that are able to understand, right? So there's a lot of photographic. Thank you so much, Justin Gold. The term I was looking was photographic. So there's a lot of factors. It's not a hard, fast rule, right? So the Payne asks, what antivirus would you recommend? So before, I'm pretty open about it. We're a huge CrowdStrike shop, but that's more of a business. So there was, I tell people this all the time, the consumer base who calls and says, hey, I've been hit with whatever. We used to use this product for many, many years. Before going into digital forensics and incident response. But that's a number of devices. So there's a gravity zone for home use. Right? There is a Bitdefender gravity zone for... That's actually not bad. That's $79. That's a nice little discount. So let me just pull out this tracker. Yep, perfect. So again, not an endorsement. I'm just saying, back when I was in the MSP days and doing outsourced IT, we used Bitdefender Gravity Zone. This premium security does look good. If you don't have any sort of, identity theft or anything monitoring, maybe consider that. But I will say, I'm going to go off on a tangent here for a second, but we've been getting this question asked a lot as well. Family protection. I think I talked about this last week. Now that I'm thinking about this, also consider Equifax family identity protection. So it's going to monitor all 3 of your credit bureaus and things of that nature. And, if you're coming from one of the 3 credit bureaus, I'm going to hold a little bit higher than, LifeLock or whatever, some external source. So your mileage may vary, as in please consider that with a grain of salt. Please do your own due diligence, but that's what I've been recommending for a lot of folks, to at least go through and do your vetting process on. Yeah, so we're getting up to the top of the hour, and 192 of y'all beautiful, sexy mofos are still in here. I love it. I love it. I love it. Sam, no, the world doesn't have enough technology to not have anybody working at the moment. Case in point, you can apply all the technology in the world right now, but it still requires oversight. And here's an example. I actually had this argument with a client not too long ago, where let's say you're in the food distribution, you're delivering items to a grocery store, your distribution center, right? Take Walmart, take Target, take whatever chain you want. You could have a Tesla truck that's not fully autonomous, by the way, so you still require a person to drive it to a store, most of those trucks are locked. There's no, you don't have the automation to unlock it. Yes, could it be built? Yes, but that's a few years down the road. You still need people to properly inventory it and everything. The concepts of technology are there. However, what we thought was Amazon. Ooh, I'll bring this up. Hold on a second. What we thought Amazon was doing with their self-checkout process was not AI at all. If I can spell. So they were saying, you know, they just insist just walk in. It's not run, isn't run secretly by workers, but there was many self checkout. Yeah, because they're. Let's see if this one does it. Yep. While the store has no actual cashiers, they are reportedly over 1,000 real people in India scanning cameras and feeds to ensure accurate checkouts. That right there, sir. That right there. It requires human oversight. Much like the AI conversation that I had. The concepts are there. It's not perfected yet. So, you know, as much as we would all like to be, you know, was it on the movie of, was it Wreck-It Ralph? I think it was. I'm not sure how else to call it, but except for fat people, so my apologies. But they were writing, if this is the correct show, yes. Or is it Wall-E that was it? It was Wall-E, wrong movie. So, no, I don't want to play the video. But, man, that's a really horrible. But hoping they'll see that. Yeah, I mean, as much as we'd love to be that guy just sitting there sipping stuff. I mean, trust me, I'm a pretty fat dude. I live in the South. We do everything with a pound of grease and butter down here. But Pappy always said, never trust a skinny cook. So, as much as we would love to be these guys, and you know, just do what we want to do, it's not a real reality right now. You know. Maybe our kids or our grandkids will start seeing some of the early adoption of that full automation type of thing. But again, it's conceptual. It's not practical yet. Carrie, yes, I did see your question. Unless there was another one. Joel asked, real-time question. Was supposed to get a call between 9:30 and 10 a.m. regarding a role, but they have not called. Should I call them? I would say, Joel, if was it a calendar invite and they just said they were going to call you, or was it like a verbal? But you know, I will say it's 9:57, at least on my workstation, 9:58 on my phone. Yeah, I would just send them an email. Hey, just, you know, following up, you know, just been sitting, you know, I mean, be polite. Be like, you know, we'll go back to the 131 rule, or the whole, you know, help me help you. Hey, just wanted to make sure, you know, that I'm not missing our phone call. You know, I thought it was between 9 and 10. It's getting close to 10. Do we need to reschedule this call? There you go. So Joel said that they're actually calling now. There you go. Good deal. Sometimes it just helps to speak it into ether. All right, 2 minutes to go. No, my voice is not that soothing. I didn't answer his question? I thought I did. Because let me scroll back in mod chat. Because I actually overlooked it and mods brought it back up to my attention. Yes, your question was, what's a good subject to get experience so I can attempt to get get into IT or cyber? And I raised a question to you, and the follow-up is maybe what I'm missing, right? Just for full transparency, how did your efforts go when I advised you a couple weeks or a month or so ago to look at your local IT shops? With the search that you have, you being a veteran, you're local. I would imagine some of those local IT computer shops would nab you right up, even if it's a part-time basis, just to help you get your chops. So if you've answered to that statement, definitely let me know, and I'll need to go back and look. But I'm curious to see how those efforts went. You're still gonna have physical labor. Still. We're just now getting to the point where drones can start doing land surveying. But it's still unvetted process. There's still going to be manual labor, bud. It's still going to be there. No, I should not. See, this is the thing that y'all see. And Joseph and Kimberly and people who know me know this. This is a very polished version of me. I am not soothing. And I'm very rarely politically correct. Okay. Clicked on the wrong one. All right, follow up to you, Carrie. Go back to them and ask them. Yeah, this is the one thing I'm going to pose to everybody this year. Adopt ask me or tell me how I can help you. We're going to learn again the never split the difference mindset. Please read that book. It'll teach you how to phrase stuff. I learned a lot of it again in the military, but it'll help you as well. Go back to them, or next time you have these conversations, be like, okay, great, thank you for that feedback. In your eyes, what experience would you be looking for from a candidate like me? And that will give you your insight. If you interview 5 people, or you have 5 job interviews, and they all tell you the same thing, but they all give you a bunch of different answers, but if there's 1 or 2 outliers of commonality of certifications or training that are across all 5 or all 3 or however many your subject base is, then that is a clear indication that most people want a net plus or whatever the case is, right? So I'll go back to them and ask them, say, hey, I'm really struggling. Yeah, that's what you can do. Go back to the ones you had interviews with or you talked to, and just tell them, look, I've been really struggling with this. Help me understand what certifications or experience or whatever, would you recommend someone trying to get into this field do? Make them go back on their heels a little bit. Sometimes putting people back in their place in a polite way helps them realize the error in their judgment and their ways. I know it sounds rude, but sometimes we got to challenge the status quo. All right, scrolling into mod chat. Yeah, Jenny, something in mod chat is a very good point. Jenny Housley, excuse me for saying this, but you know, she made the comment of we are super far away from AI being able to do plumbing or HVAC. You know, it's a fact. You know, there's a lot of concepts in place and a lot of theories that are in place for the development of that. But you know, are we there yet? No, not by a long shot. You know, and there's something to be said by working with your hands. There's a different level of pride. Like those who've been around for a while, I've talked about when I was in industrial, commercial, and residential electrical field. And there's still neighborhoods I can drive by and be like, I wired every last one of those damn houses. Right? None of them are burned down. Right? There's all these years later, there's never been a single problem from my job. That's a sense of pride that you can take in yourself. And you give that away to AI or robots or whatever, you're taking your pride, your self-worth away. So, you know, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we are past the top of the hour, and questions have kind of died off. I do appreciate 156 of y'all still sticking around. So to those who stick around, come the spoils, you will now get the sea shanty, and you'll get the closing video from Dr. Joe Dozier. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out and asking all your questions. I do greatly appreciate it, each and every one of you, and we will see y'all next week. Take care, y'all.
I hope you enjoyed the Jaw Jacking. Be sure to check out the Simply Cyber Daily Cyber Threat Briefing happening every single weekday morning from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., where you can get the top cybersecurity news stories of the day, network with other professionals, and then stay for the Jaw Jacking just like you saw. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. See you in the next one.